Now then, where did we get to? You know, I'm trying to make a usable continuous variable transmission to work on my new locomotive, mostly because it's really interesting. But last time you saw it, there were 3 serious problems. The first was the material that I was using for the friction wheel. I had tried some plasticky rubber, or was it rubbery plastic? I don't know. Either way, it wasn't working very well. But then some urethane arrived, and I cut out a circle of it on the router. I didn't know how it would behave being cut like this, so I held it down with a scrap of wood in case it wrapped itself up on the bit or melted or caught fire or something. But as it was, it cut perfectly. And I made a little sandwich of it on the drive shaft, and it feels soft and almost sticky, so it might work. Then the next thing was the gearing from the drive shaft down to the wheels. If you remember, I was experimenting with the V-belt, but that slipped. But I was able to make a large sprocket to replace it, which I attached to the inside of the wheel. And I made a small sprocket for the top. And look, my first attempts were promising. But you can see how soft the urethane is, can't you? Bulgy. But I just reduced the pressure of the springs and it still gripped fine, so that's interesting. Just doesn't need to be pushed on so hard. Now, the third major challenge from the last time was trying to keep the top sprocket in position even though the spinning shaft was moving in and out through it. It has to stay directly above the big sprocket on the wheel, otherwise of course it would just jam up and wouldn't work. Now I had thought I'd need a retaining plate of some sort, perhaps using these ball rollers to keep the pressure on. I had a great complicated plan in my head, but then I found a much simpler method. Which makes use of the fact that the spinning shaft is square and the hole in the bearing is round. And that leaves 4 narrow gaps for some sort of clip to go through from the inside of the bearing to the outside, and so hold the sprocket in place. I tried wire first, but if I could bend it to the right shape, then it was too soft to stay bent. So I tried these cable ties, and they turned out to be remarkably effective. Now that sprocket goes round and round but stays in the same place. So simple. So then I started some field trials, but the tracks are too steep just by the barn, and also a little overgrown, to be honest. A little bit. In fact, you can hardly see them. Where are the sheep when you need them? Well, really, the sheep are doing their best, but at this time of year they are overwhelmed with grass. Finally, it's growing properly. I think I am going to have to improve the slope on this section. Even without the grass, it's way beyond what locos are normally expected to climb. Up on the ground that was a bit more level, things went much better. And this is the second steepest climb, which goes all the way up to the top of the field, and even the long grass couldn't stop us this time. I did take it very slowly though, expecting the chain to hop off the sprockets. I did order a little tensioner sprocket from England, along with lots of other things, but that was more than 3 weeks ago now, and they still haven't turned up. Some say that Britain leaving the EU was completely bonkers, but of course I wouldn't dream of commenting myself. And downhill was no problem. The friction wheel can work as a brake too, and it holds it back very well, which is just as well because there are no other brakes on this yet. And the only suspension is the general sloppiness of the build, which keeps the whole frame loose and flexible, just like I planned it, of course. And look, it even managed the steep incline up into the barn. So far pretty good, I think, but we're not finished yet. No. I took it farther than it has ever gone before, onto the new railway line, which still isn't finished by the way, but is nearly there. I was aiming for some level ground so I could do some speed trials, but as I moved the friction wheel over to its extreme position for maximum speed, the ends of the cable ties got mangled on the push rods, which meant they no longer held the sprocket in place.
They all broke. There's a problem here.
Oh dear. It's not a big deal actually. I just need to adjust the height of those rods. Except it would be a pain to have to push this locomotive home from here because it weighs a lot now. It was easier to just go and fetch some more cable ties, and we were back in action for the fastest run so far, approximately walking pace, to be honest, which is good enough, but a little faster would be nice one day. But now listen, you might be able to hear a grating noise caused by the clutch lever support bar falling off completely, leaving the clutch lever literally hanging on the drive chain. Not good. Shoddy workmanship or what? Who did that? Oh yeah, it was me. Easily fixed though. And here's Yap, seeing if it would pull anything. Not just pull, but push too. sitting on it. Very light on the front wheels, isn't it?
Eh?
It's going to hop those points because it's so light on the front wheels. But if we got it round here, we could just see if we can take it up there. Hang on. That's it. I'm not sure what bit to grab. It's all a bit dangerous, isn't it? Now this curve is just a little too tight for this wheelbase. I think I'm going to have to alter it sometime. Luckily, the Loco can go very slowly if you want it to.
Do you need to film horizontal or?
Yeah, like that. This time, yeah, it's riding and it's still plodding along uphill. As you know, one key advantage of this drive system is that the engine can continue working at the same speed even though the Loco could go faster or slower as required. It's an incredibly simple gearing system that utilizes the constant engine speed to give a complete range of speeds in either direction. I love it. It's a tiny bit amazing. Now remember when we were digging this in the winter and the digger almost got lost in the mud, and this track is just built on top of that mud with no ballast at all, and the Loco weighs maybe 1/4 of a ton. It's not sinking. I'm just saying, it's not sinking. In this new section of track, the trees are low hanging and the rushes are tall growing, but still we made progress. Just a good job I don't have a hat on. Now look, this is all good fun and very encouraging and very interesting, but there are still problems. The friction wheel squeaks, the chain is too loose, the locomotive wheels slip on the steep hills, and everything's rattly and looks a bit unfinished. And I don't even know whether it can pull heavier loads yet. It can pull a wagon with yap on it, which could be useful at times. But could it do more than that? I don't know. And I don't want to test that until I've sorted out some of those other things first, in case I just do more damage to it. If I can sort them out. But if I can, then surely we're onto something pretty exciting. Surely.